What is up, comic fans? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. It's Sunday. That means this is at Weeks in the spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics and more. But this is a special episode because we had another big movie drop in a summer jam-packed with would-be blockbusters if the summer wasn't jam-packed. Tonight we'll be talking about the brand new movie, the long-awaited for The Flash, starring a bunch of people. But let's get right into it, so don't go anywhere. Tonight's hangout is definitely sponsored by Big Time Collectibles. They sponsor the monthly Legion Loot giveaway for the channel members, so be sure to hit that join button down below. Check out the channel membership and see if it's something for you. And if you need anything cleaned or pressed, hit up my friend Justin over on IG. Let him know you found him via the channel. And lastly, a huge shout out to ABX Comics and Games, my local LCS, and also sponsor of the channel. Be sure to check him out if you're ever in the Augusta area. So let me go ahead and bring in the panel. Let's kick this off because my voice is going out, so I feel like it's on a ticking timer. Paul, what's happening? Long time no see.
I know. What's going on? That ABX logo is hot. That's great. That new logo that they have. Oh, not that one.
So there's the Augusta
That
Book Exchange, and then there's the ABX one. So they've updated it. Paul's actually had that logo for a while, and he just started to use it for kind of a placeholder logo. Mm-hmm. So we also have, it looks like one of our resident movie reviewers that's been coming and hanging out. DJ won't be here tonight. Nick, they're still traveling. DJ's still at the con, like he travels home tomorrow. So we do have one of our most recent regulars for the occasion, and none other than Izzyverse NYC.
What's up? I got my Flash books up here, so you can just see them right there. Some nice representation. Got the Funko Flash because this might be the last really big one, right? If we don't count Indy.
Talking about for the summer.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible.
Oh, yeah, you got Mission Impossible. I keep forgetting about that one.
Barbie, that was Oppenheimer.
Okay. Comic book movie. How's that?
Yeah.
I know Blue Beetle's much later.
Yeah,
that's
September
August.
Is technically fall right now.
Yeah.
September even.
No, I heard August.
So it's definitely, that's late summer then, yeah.
August 18th.
Yeah. Late summer movies actually do well, too.
Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and hit the chat and start saying, hey. First off the bat, we got John's Comics with Kids, who's fresh out of seeing the movie himself. I was talking to him just a little bit ago. Las Cruces, 1971. Oh, my God. Second to comment, Las Cruces, 1971. Wow. I haven't seen the Flash yet, so don't go anywhere. We'll give you all the details here coming up. Pops Attic, what is up? Hope you're doing good. I just spent the entire weekend with Pops. Me and him rode up to Heroes Con, had the Father's Day weekend celebration. Got to see the everyone in the comic community other than these two pretty much. It was a wild, amazing weekend. I just recorded kind of an overview recap, some footage video. It'll upload in the morning. I'll have some more detailed pointed videos kind of telling some stories and looking at some stuff in more detail coming up later. But tomorrow's going to be a great video, just the haul and everything. Speaking as a non-Snyder fanboy, people should go see The Flash. I enjoyed it a lot. We were ready to talk some Flash Wars. Yeah, we are. Flash Break videos. What is happening? Haven't seen it yet, but I don't mind the spoilers. I'll see it eventually. I think that's what everyone else in the country decided as well.
Yeah, based on those box office numbers. Yeah, I think that's the case.
Yeah. 55 million, 56 or 55?
So it's actually estimated right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an estimated box office. So we don't know the actual number at the moment.
You check Box Office Mojo?
Yeah, it's at 55 million, and that's domestic.
And that's not counting Sunday at all either.
No, that's why Sunday's projected.
Yeah, that's why I typically go on Mondays about lunchtime and check how a movie did over the weekend.
But
what is going on?
This might be a long weekend.
Oh yeah, we have Juneteenth holiday tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Brian LCS, what is happening? Hope you're doing well, my man. Scrolling down. KBDM, how are you doing? What's up? What's up, Phil? Dr. Von Hoot. You got an amazing piece of art. If you haven't seen that, check out his IG. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there as well.
We got to get Mrs. Von Hoot in the Sketchy Show. That's what we need.
Aggressively relaxing. What's up? I just hung out with I don't even want to say his government name, but I hung out with Aggressively this weekend for the second time. The first time was at Heroes last year. And we recreated our moment this year that we had last year. And it was amazing. It was amazing. He's one of the best people you'll ever meet. He's so great. He doesn't know how to not smile. And speaking of the opposite of that, we have Taylor Winder in the chat. Taylor, hope you're doing good. I wish you could have been there this weekend too, dude. Your absence was definitely felt, my guy. Just got out of Flash 3 hours ago. Loved it. Yeah, dude, this has definitely split the community. I know that they did this. They did Thursday night at the con. The people that were there went and watched it, and it looked like there was kind of like almost like a unanimous hive mentality. They went drinking and hanging out, then went to go see the Flash in the theater just to themselves. They rented out a little small room. It was like 7 seats wide kind of thing. But they didn't really care for it. Pretty much the CGI ruined it for them.
Yeah.
And I get
it ruined it for my wife.
It'll be like that for some people. It really will.
It did ruin it for my wife. But we'll talk about that.
Yeah, let's do like we normally do and just go around the horn and give it our respected ratings and everything. Paul, you want to hit it with the rings?
Sure. I think I'd probably give it 7.5. I really liked it. There were some choices that were made that to me were I was dumbfounded. Like I don't know whose creative choice it was to have Flash immediately put a baby in a microwave, but that to me was just kind of like, what the hell are they doing?
Spoiler.
Bad choice. Someone should have said, this is probably not going to go down very well with people.
Backwards frigid.
Yeah. The CGI certainly left a lot to be desired, I think, as well. The last the after credit scene, I don't know what that was doing there. It did absolutely nothing for anything,
The post credit,
but
right?
overall, one thing I really liked, and I don't think as many people will appreciate, is having read and really kind of dug into the prequel comics. I could see everything that was in the prequel comics in the movie. It was actually there, and it was like the prequel comics actually mean something. If you read them, you can then see how they apply to the movie.
Taylor Winter said, bad CGI, weird pacing, shitty third act. It had fun moments and was somewhat enjoyable. 6.0. It's fine. Taylor Winter. Greetings from the Easton lobby. Hell yeah. If you need
He's still out there?
Yeah, he flies back home tomorrow. He flies back. Mañana. Solid 8 for me from Trev the Shipping Guru. 6.0 from DJ. How many handies, DJ? Quit teasing us. There's the hoots. Izzy, how many Izzy's overview for you?
Okay, so CGI. I'm going to start there. It was bad. I'm sorry. Had the time.
Hit me with your Izzy's first.
Yeah. So my Izzy's, I'm giving it a solid 4 out of 5 Izzy's. It could have gotten that 5 if that CGI was much better. It was. You know what? They had the movie in the shelf. You could have fixed that. And the director's giving excuses about it. So there's that. But let's talk about the positives. Ezra Miller, man.
I really
he was so good. It was amazing to me. I was shocked how good he was. And it's not so much about him playing Barry, it's him playing 2 versions of Barry.
Just a performance,
Performance-wise, I would give it, it's crazy to say it, but I say it's almost Oscar worthy because he's playing 2 characters in this movie. Literally,
it wasn't just like 2 separate. It was like 2 characters with 2 separate evolutions to the character and ranges.
Exactly, they have a point, right?
2 separate responses to things, and it was wild.
It was great how he had to act amongst himself. So I would love to see the behind the scenes of how they made that work. You know what I mean? Like, was he talking to a body double? Was there interaction? Which was the one that was first? That by itself will be a really cool behind the scenes thing. So I give that credit. I absolutely love Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton's awesome. Supergirl, I really enjoyed it. I know she was playing the role of Superman because let's face it, she was playing the role of Superman because it was Flashpoint. Um, and I dug all the cameos I saw because there was cameos I didn't expect. There was cameos I absolutely expected, and there was the lack of cameos that I was expecting. There was missing cameos, which it's a shame because one person showed up and you got him, but you didn't get this guy. That bothered me. The fact that you didn't do it.
We'll almost do this movie in reverse.
4 out of 5 Izzy's.
We'll go. I think we might do this movie in reverse order. Like I don't think I've ever done that before, but I almost feel like this would be a good one to review in reverse order.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, on the scale, this is not a super green. This is not peak at all for me. It did rank pretty high on my DC list. I give this movie a green. You know, like it's in the green, but it's not super green. I don't tell people to run out, watch it now, go buy a ticket type thing, and tell them, hey, definitely check it out kind of thing. It gets a recommendation for me. I think it was overhyped and overblown, but definitely. That comes with the length of time that it was building up to this for sure.
Well, DC Studios overhyped it.
DC did. People that watched it ahead of time did. Tom Cruise did. I mean, people that
Tom Cruise, Stephen King. Like
in all sincerity, but that's like the people who are watching the standard audience's reaction too. You're getting people saying, "Dude, I loved it." Like I talked to Nelson over at BTC, and he's like, "Dude, that was my favorite DC movie since Batman '89." Like you're hearing it. You're hearing the same thing from people. They're like, I really think it's just really if you're able to watch movies and not be taken out of them by CG, you have such a different experience watching this than people that get hung up on it, which that you can't expect everyone to just get past it. You know, they should have tightened it up.
Yeah, I think with people like, you know, Stephen King, especially someone like Tom Cruise, they're probably reviewing it from a different lens, if you know what I mean. So they're not looking at performance-wise, writing, because it had the writing, it had the performances. It's that CGI was bad. Mm-hmm. It was inexcusable to me. That's why.
I had somebody like Thursday after I watched it, I was talking online with someone and they were talking about the CGI. They asked me if I had a hard time with it. I'm like, not at all, because for me personally, this sounds goofy coming from me, but I will not be impressed with CGI in film again until I watch Avatar 3 probably. Like it doesn't matter what I look at. Like you don't. We do a lot of Marvel reviews over here, and I'm not a Disney apologist at all. And you don't hear me just trashing a movie on CGI. You know, we talk about how they have their own troubles with like the time frames and all that, but CGI doesn't make it the movie for me. But I do think like on a general level, you need to do the best absolute job you can in this day and age. Otherwise, you're going to end up with people just stuck on that, and that word of mouth really slows people down from buying tickets for sure.
And that was it. And it was like, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. But to me, when I saw the CGI, I almost immediately thought of the Scorpion King. And I'm like, okay, you know what? And The Rock and the Scorpion King is like, you know, that is like, what, 20 years ago or whatever?
That's the thing. It had the CGI was like
a huge step back.
The CGI was very of the first 10 years of the 2000s, the OGs as they call them. I think that's what they're calling them. I don't know why. The early 2000s. I think of Spider-Man. So if you remember Spider-Man when he was running the rooftops and he was jump up and the camera goes and it was completely seen. That's what I was seeing, especially in the baby scene. Right when the movie starts, where we have the baby shower. You know, nice little joke that I threw out there in my YouTube shorts with the baby showers.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Right? That's baby shower. And a can of tomatoes gives us Michael Keaton's Batman. What do you think? So the thing with the baby shower, it was just so cringe because they can't get babies right. And the skin movement, the movement of the skin. Now, you know, the director, Muschietti, he was excusing himself. Which he shouldn't. He was excusing himself, said, that's the way I wanted Barry to see the world. I'm like, that's a load of baloney, and you know it. You know what I mean? And the problem I have is that you have that time frame.
There legit is an excuse. Like, that was 100% intentional. That's how they wanted it to look. Why they wanted they've had years to work on post.
Well, that's the thing.
There's countless people and countless millions of dollars in this movie. For they know what they had. They saw it just like
They saw it on the screen.
No, I'm
And
saying
I
just a
did
bad
also think
creative
that
choice.
as they were that at one point I did actually say to myself, is this the way they meant, are you supposed to see things a little bit different when you're traveling through the Speed Force and not everything
Yes,
is as
yes, there is,
clear
Dr. Von Hoot.
type,
Yes, there
you
is.
know, is everything not supposed to be as clear as it would be if you weren't traveling through the Speed Force and through time? So was that an intentional choice? I did think that to myself at one point.
I thought that as well, but I also said, you know what? It still looks bad. You get my point? It still looks bad. So that doesn't give you and the reason why I said they don't give you excuse is because you had this movie sitting on the shelf.
Right.
With the amount of time you had this movie sitting on the shelf, you could have seen this, and you had screeners. In the screeners, someone could have said,
they did.
You know what I mean? And then they say, you know what? Let's try to make it feel a little. Now, my personal thought is because of all the Ezra drama that was happening, they probably went, you know what? Let's not invest too much money anymore as we already invested. And I think it paid off in that way because with 55 million, weekend, you probably made a good choice not putting more money into this movie.
And you got to keep in mind too, all the early test screenings and everything, all the way up until the week of the movie, the audience is being told you're watching what is potentially the film. This is not necessarily the final product. So everyone watching it, when they're giving them their feedback, they're not even saying anything about the because they're assuming
they know the CGI is supposed to be that way.
That they're going to fix it. Because otherwise, I would go to Tom Cruise and say, Tom Cruise, would you want this level of CGI in your movie?
He would.
Have you seen Maverick?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and to Dr. Von Hoot's point, he said there's literally no reason why the CG couldn't have matched Avatar 2. And I can give you millions and millions of reasons why it didn't, and why nothing else looks like Avatar 2. Like there's countless reasons why.
Yeah. Well, the
James Cameron.
Yeah, exactly. With all the cameos even looked funky at certain points because it wasn't meant to look like. Because the idea is like, oh, he's watching it during speed while he's moving really fast, right? Well, at some point, he's not moving fast. Oh yeah, the dog in the end, that was awesome. I'm not gonna lie, his tongue sticking out and all the stuff happening to him, But at the end when we get all these cameos. And some really cool ones too. I gotta admit, there were some cool ones that I would have never even guessed. There were some moments where you couldn't just take the scene that you from this. Like they were borrowing scenes from other movies and other TV shows. You could have just left it like that and just crop off the background. Instead, you decided to alter it to look a certain way, and it didn't work out. I'm sorry, it just didn't work.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Now, while it didn't bother me or take me out of the movie, I know that if it's having this effect on that many people, it's definitely an issue. Definitely an issue. And I could see it already. Like when I saw it, like, yeah, absolutely.
You're so tired you can't even spell tired.
Yeah.
No, he intentionally meant to say tired. That was intentional. That was,
Yeah, it most definitely is as bad as people are saying. Now there are parts of it, and this is what gets me. There's parts of it that look fine. There are like absolutely parts that look fine. The first time we see Flash take off, when he steps out into the street, he stretches and he leans down and he just locks in, and you see him like he enters the Speed Force without moving, and the street just gets elongated, and then he's gone. You're like, yo, like that part. Watching that in IMAX, I'm like, holy smoke!
Even his running. So remember that there was a big complaint about the way he ran, that he would run and it's kind of like this in a way, right? But he starts and that's when you start. That was a cool way of making that work. I still don't like the running, but because it does look funny. It's like, right? But he starts off with
the best comic movies of all time. I'm nervous for the future. That might have been company man talk right there.
Yeah, that was definitely company talk. They all say that. Everyone says that of every movie. And then when the movie comes out and when everybody talks, well, that really wasn't our intention and all that stuff.
Well, let's hit on the basic premise, because he asked, Flashpoint is such a wonderful, sweet story. Did they get that right for an audience that has never heard of it? 100%. This is most certainly the Flashpoint story in every way, shape, fashion, or form. Take out Thomas Wayne, insert Michael Keaton's Batman. Same. Take out Kal-El, put in Kara, same. Take out the Atlantean war with the Amazons, put in Invasion of Zod, same. We can't address what we need to address till we handle this war. It was the exact story for the exact same reason, just with minor elements changed that made it where watching it without any knowledge of what they changed give you some little, it's not the animated feature, it's the live action adaptation.
Yeah, it was definitely an homage to Flashpoint.
Yeah, it hit all the right beats. Coming from somebody who just reread that story and rewatched it and did the deep dive on it, it hit all the beats.
With no Reverse Flash, though, either.
Well,
no.
No Reverse Flash, actually.
That they showed.
Right. Yeah, but...
Right.
Because one thing that we touch on in this is Barry's father having been arrested for the murder of his mother. We exonerate Barry's father in this, but they don't even touch on the fact that now that we know Henry didn't do it, who did?
Who did? Right. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, because it still happened, and we never reveal who did it, and we know that the character that we end up seeing, which is Dark Flash or whatever, I think they're calling him Dark Flash. That's just Barry. Right. That's still Barry.
That's Barry, who has attempted multiple times to try to go back and fix everything.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I saw in the kind of through numerous reviews, because sometimes people pick up on someone's little catchphrase or take, and you just start seeing it repeated, is the movie relies on nostalgia bait heavily. And they start referring to the cameos specifically. The cameo scene in this movie, such a short moment. It was not long at all. You're watching the multiverse while they're standing inside of Hypertime, watching the multiverse colliding into each other. And on these separate worlds, we're seeing it kind of zooms in and you see the characters that exist on these worlds. And in one of them, we see Christopher Reeve along with Helen Slater, who played Supergirl.
In the same universe.
Yeah, Supergirl existed in that same universe back in the day in the Salkind universe. And then you had George Reeves, who played Superman after Alan did in the old black and whites, moved over to color. And what was very interesting is what cameo were you referring to that they showed one person but not the other one?
So it was very short, but they showed Golden Age Flash.
Jay Garrett, yeah.
Jay Garrett, played by, I can't remember his name now, but he was the Golden Age Flash that eventually became like the Reverse Flash.
Hunter Zolomon.
Yes, that one. They showed him briefly, and I was shocked that they showed him. And the one thing that I was sad that I didn't see was there was no Grant Gustin.
Which I don't know if you caught this, but I caught it immediately.
Yeah, it was like, him.
What world did Jay Garrett exist on?
What, this Jay Garrett we're talking about? Well, you got to tell me. You got to.
That was not the CW Jay Garrett.
Oh no! That was
They canoned him into George Reeves' universe, which I thought was super smart. So we got a Jay Garrett. I wish they would have used John Wesley Shipp to do it, but I thought it was cool. Like they don't want to water it down with the CW thing, and I get that 100%. I predicted that going into this. I had this conversation 1,000 times, but I thought it was cool that they tethered the Golden Age Flash to our Golden Age of cinema with George Reeves. I thought that was really smart.
I think for what it was worth, I think you would have had, because that was definitely a pop moment, right? Well, that was a wrestling pop moment. That moment right there was like, oh, and then he does the deed to show up in the CW show, right? Ezra Miller does the deed to show up in the CW show. The least you could do is pay back and give us a Grant Gustin. Just that brief moment. Like, again, the scenes that we were seeing with these cameos, either they were CGI'd or they were clips from the TV series, right? Like Adam West Batman. That was a clip. That was
so dope. That was
like, you throw that in there, was like, you guys.
And John Peters finally got his Superman fighting a giant spider.
Oh yes, and I saw that. I immediately called it the spider. I was like, that's the spider.
Yeah, just gonna throw it out there,
right? So you had all these moments, and you have the footage. That's the catch. The thing is, and what's interesting enough, a lot of people don't know this, but the 1967 Batman series, believe it or not, is owned by Disney. They own it. They just don't do anything with it. Yeah, they own that. They own it because of when they bought certain rights, it was part of the Fox deal. So they kind of grabbed it from the Fox deal.
That
But
sucks.
so of course
which is why the movie the movie is actually a Fox movie. Fox owns the entire Batman 66 movie, and they allowed Warner Brothers to put out all the Blu-rays. They struck a deal with Warner.
They struck a deal so they could get some of the cash.
I remember that now, watching it here in the old school dun 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 dun, and seeing that's crazy.
So all that stuff, and Warner Brothers is a big enough company. They own the CW stuff, right? So why cannot you just do the same thing you did with the Batman to just throw in the loop? Like, you don't have to. Okay, hey Grant, can you come over and record a scene with us for a day? No, you could just say, you know what, we got Grant's Flash. Let's just throw that in there. Let's throw that. They had the ability to do that. What I did like was the way they made it look like Crisis on Infinite Earth. Give a good shout out to George Perez for that scene, because you saw the Earths crashing. Yeah. I was like, oh, Crisis on Infinite Earth.
And my pop said the exact same thing when we came out. He's like, did you see the cover homage in there? So I think that Andy Muschietti, how do you say it?
Yeah, Andy Muschietti.
He really showed like he has like a deep passion for the lore of the projects he's working on. He really did. Like, and I kind of want to touch on, like, we had multiple Batman in this movie. Everyone knew that we were getting Michael Keaton. Everyone knew that we were getting Ben Affleck. But like the start of the film, we have
at the end of the film,
at the start of the film, we have the Justice League responding to, I think, was it Falcone's kid that pulled a job, and they were all trying to catch up to him and stuff. And we had an amazing chase scene with Ben Affleck, and I saw like somebody criticizing the wonky physics in it. I'm like, yo, did you say wonky physics in a superhero? Like, what? That actually blew my mind to begin with.
That can't really happen. Of course, that can't really happen.
This was our like, as far as we know, last ride with Ben Affleck, and yo, they came out the gate swinging. And I do want to say, first off, everything that me and Paul said prequel to this movie wise for context was 100% spot on. From the not getting the Batmobile, from the knowing Alfred created the ring, like all of that context from that prequel that we did on the deep dive, dude, it was awesome. It was like I already knew, and they didn't reference it, and it was there. Like,
his being able to phase. Right?
Being able to phase, we saw him get trained up.
Actually taking a look at this at the situation with all the babies coming out and coming up with a plan.
Yeah, that was cool.
As opposed to just reacting, right? But the thing that I was interested,
the concessions.
The thing that I thought was interesting too about the Ben Affleck was you have Ben Affleck on a very Christian Bale bat cycle.
Yes, it was very Christian Bale, but the he had double wheels. So he had like the big fat tire, and then there was like another one right next to it that was slightly smaller.
But we never saw the bat cycle in any of the other movies before. This is the first time we saw it.
We've seen his Batwing, we've seen his Batmobile, we've seen the Bat Tank, his version of the Frank Miller Bat Tank and Snyder cut. I don't know. It looked Snyderish, but
let's talk about that first cameo. Who thought Gal Gadot was going to cash in another check for another DC movie? I didn't know about Gal Gadot showing up. Yeah, when I saw that last one, then that music hit, I was like, oh, here she goes cashing in. They're trying to cash in all those checks to make sure they get all those movie deals done. That's what I look at it. It's like, oh, she got how many movies? Okay, let's check this one off now.
Now, again, we've referenced the CGI was lacking, so just pretty much putting that aside. Like the rescue scene that he did, like the slow motion sequence, and like kind of watching him how he's depleted his energy kind of thing. He does have to recharge due to his metabolism, and watching it kind of like slowly start to speed up on him against his will. I thought that was cool getting to see that, and him having to like put that into his rescue strategy kind of thing.
The burrito.
Yeah, dude, that was hilarious. he chowed down. And dude, did y'all notice the little detail? Because he's going at like hyper speed. But when he grabs something and he throws it in hyperspeed, it's like burning white. Like it's like not traveling in like yellow sparks. No, it's going so fast, it's like burning white on the end. Like when you get a couple of items.
Yeah, I think we'll get to Taylor's comment, Lebowski Keaton. That was funny.
Didn't one of those bat cycles bust out of the Batmobile in Batman Returns? No, in Batman Returns, you had the bat bullet So when he was going down the alleyway, he actually chose to destroy the Batmobile and just it breaks down into pieces just to get to leave the center thing.
Yeah, because it's not
Yeah,
really a cycle.
and I was actually referring to when I said made that comment. I was referring to we didn't see the Bat Cycle in any of the Ben Affleck Batman
Yeah,
movies.
no.
This is the first
This
time
is
we
the
saw
first
it.
time seeing it at all.
Yeah. I thought it was funny when they finally get to the end and, you get Wonder Woman shows up and at first you see Batman talking to her and he has like he has this ridiculous grin on his face. And it's like, at first I was thinking to myself, that's not Batman like. But then when I noticed he has the lasso, he's holding it and it's causing him to tell the truth.
Yeah.
That was a funny scene, but I thought that was completely unnecessary and gave me like, in my opinion, that was the cringiest moment of the movie. We saw that in the Justice League cut when
They did that.
Aquaman sat on the lasso, and now they do we're accidentally touching the lasso thing. And Barry's lines in that were just cringe.
Yeah, it was no need for that. It was like, you know what? And in almost every other iteration, whenever you see the lasso, she asks a question and they respond. It doesn't mean that you automatically just start blabbing
because that's the point.
truth.
The lasso is more like it's a tool that when it has to be utilized rather than it's an always on tool.
So him to just say that I've heard of sex but I've never had it, like what was that? That was like
that was weird. Especially with Ezra, I would have cut that off entirely. With all the stuff Ezra's been accused of, I would have just taken that off altogether. You know what I mean?
No, when he saved the kids and the nurse and he gets them all down, and Flash is like, now you might want to consult a mental health
that was a pun.
Because we're not good at it. I'm like, yo, they're not tone deaf. They're not tone deaf.
That was definitely meta. That was like, oh yeah, he's talking about themselves as he refers to himself.
I don't know, guys. I think the rest of my night is nitpicking the Bat Cycle thing and Batman Returns. Prepare to be tagged in my argument later tonight. Yeah, if you don't do that aggressive, I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah, there were definitely Bat Cycles in the third and fourth movie. Definitely in the third one because Robin
the fourth one got skates
a lot.
We got skates in the fourth one.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We need to get the return of the skates, man. I want
about the fourth one, so we.
So we're gonna go right to the end.
We're going to be bouncing around tonight. It's the Flashpoint story. Everyone knows that. So
it's not linear.
So like this, everyone knows from the trailer, Zod's coming. They have to try to stop Zod. They go to try to find Superman. It's the Flashpoint story. They just put Kara in their place. That sequence was the same. They go to find him instead of the U.S. government having him. Soviet government has her. They get her out. Great sequence going down there, fighting and everything. You get to see Michael Keaton unleashed in modern special effects and choreography to a level Tim Burton never could before. And it was glorious. It really was. There was some humor in there because just like in the comics, our Barry is depowered from the events of making sure young Barry is in the right place at the right time to get hit with a bolt of lightning. It gives young Barry the powers, but strips him in the process, which gives us a laugh out loud scene when he's like, hold on, I'll be right back. And he can't phase through a wall. He focuses, he gets ready to run, and then he's just hopping around the room. He's just running in a circle around the room in this whole, I'm like, oh my God, this is ridiculously funny right now. And I thought that was another meta moment where they were kind of joking on the way that he runs, how people were criticizing the way he runs. But I think that's, I've said ever since we saw the Snyder cut, when we started talking about it, and with Justice League, I like the way that they have Flash running because we've seen Quicksilver run, we've seen other people run, we've seen the Barry on the CW run, and the dude isn't just running fast; he's accessing a power. He's activating a power. He's not simply running fast. He's inside the Speed Force moving. He's moving through the Speed Force. It's almost like he's moving through something physical that he's like forcing his way through. I've always liked that aspect of it. It was just a cool concept that they, I don't know, for me, I liked it. But yeah.
But it was interesting because there was moments where it was in that moments when he started realize what he could do as far as the Speed Force and time travel. So he gets to he goes back in time to see what actually happened, right? To find out, okay, so how could it do it? In his conversation with Bruce is like, you could change it if you interact with people. And he was like, okay, so how could I do this without interacting? Well, as I said it before, can of tomatoes. right? Can of Tomatoes did it, would just take the can of tomatoes. And I thought it was interesting that was the premise. That's what led to what happened, right? We never get to see who killed her. We never get to see it. So it's still assumed that it's going to be Reverse Flash. That's what it seems like it's going to be. It just makes sense. But what was interesting for me, one of the things that most people are not going to catch is the song that she was singing to him. It also, what was interesting for me is that they just turned Barry Allen half Hispanic, right? And the song she was singing to him, La vida de la sorpresa, sorpresa de la vida. That's like that's a song from Ruben Blades. It's called Pedro Navaja, which is really Peter Switchblade, and it's not a nice song. And I thought the way that they flipped it with this was interesting for me, but it was just one of those things like, why did you use that song? That's a song about a guy who goes out in the streets and he kills prostitutes. And he got, so the story, at the way the song goes, at the end at the song, she ends up killing him back. So life of surprises gives you more surprises. That's the line in English. So I thought that was just weird. But maybe it made sense since she got killed. I don't know. So I just thought that was weird thinking about that. It's one of those things that most people don't. Yeah.
So what? All right, let's get to Keaton. Keaton was a big draw for a lot of people. A lot of people that haven't gone to see it yet, apparently, because not a lot of people have. But
they went to see Elementals.
I don't think they did that either.
They didn't see Elementals either.
No one saw Elementals.
No, Elementals made like 20. So some people went to see it. It made 29, 30, almost 30.
Not bad.
That's not bad for a movie that's competing with another one. So that's pretty good.
It's bad for a Pixar movie.
Bad for a Pixar movie.
Yeah, it's bad for a Pixar movie. But then again, that's not the Pixar movie you should have put on in theaters. You should have put Turning Red into theaters. That movie is awesome. But this is not a Turning Red, even though we are using a red character.
Keaton was good. I liked Keaton a lot. I thought the whole spaghetti thing, the way they explained it, that was nice. It was a different take on what we've seen in the past, I think. It was a little bit meta there with the kind of calling out the Doctor Strange thing with the, I know you probably heard about how spaghetti, and it's like it comes off of here, and it's like, that to me was kind of like a little meta shot at Marvel. And instead it's like a fulcrum type of a thing. So I really like it.
But not just that. When he was describing the concept of what they were going through and what they were dealing with, which he had a great understanding of in the movie, he pointed out that the events of this film, Barry running back in the past, and Barry didn't even get to accomplish his goal. He got knocked out of the time stream before he could accomplish his goal. That's why there was 2 Flash. Had he been able to run back in the past and step into his own shoes, there would have only been 1. But he was knocked out of his mission by Dark Flash, just swinging through and throwing him into a specific time.
Now, was that intentional or was that accidental?
What's that?
Him knocking into Dark Flash. Did Dark Flash
intentionally came out and he even tells
him out of the way?
Yeah,
I have to see it again to see that.
He had to send him back into that specific time to get 18-year-old Barry to the lab to give him powers so that he can.
You have to purposely do that.
In a paradox, yeah. But the act of Barry tampering with time created the multiverse, because now we're just continuously creating all these possibilities. Because what's so cool is in the comics, the creation of hypertime started when that bolt of lightning hit Barry. And even in the comics, like Pops pointed out, they've shown that bolt of lightning that comes down and strikes Barry is actually Barry.
Yeah.
Is Barry, yeah.
They retcon his history to create
all
himself.
Paradoxes. Yeah. I thought that was great. We did get to see the Batmobile, the Michael Keaton's Batmobile. We did not get to see it in action. I really didn't think about it till after the fact. We
got the Batwing instead.
I love the Batwing, man.
I love how that Batwing would work. That he still does that, and the Batwing. Yeah. That was nice.
Turns. Everyone's wondering why there's a bubble on the bottom. This is not the '89 Batwing. That thing doesn't exist, and this isn't even the '89 universe. This is a Flashpoint universe. But the Batwing was dope. The cockpit sat on a gyro, so when it turned and moved, it would stay level. He could just spin as fast as he wanted. try to throw people off or dodge missiles. It was really cool.
The Joker took down the first Batwing with his big long gun.
Big long gun.
And they had the teeth. Remember the teeth in the scene? He had the bag with the teeth.
The laughing bag that
We got the
which they took
chatterbox
out of
in
his
the green bag.
which they took out of the Joker's coat at the end of the movie
when
when
he was
he
laying
died.
dead on the pavement. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
What is going on, Mad Spidey?
And it's still working.
Yep.
It was really cool. Kara, I thought was fantastic. Sasha Kale or Kali.
Kale.
She did an amazing job as Kara.
Yeah.
She was tough. Like she brought the emotion to that character. The fight with Zod was great. They did something really cool. They introduced this concept of like you can change things in the past, but there's going to be certain events on certain worlds that you can't change. They're just going to be intersect points that have to happen. It's fate. And on this Flashpoint world, it's doomed to die. Kara is doomed to die. Keaton is doomed to die. So they attempt to like reset that final battle numerous times, which was freaking awesome. Watching the two Flashes just like work in tandem to fight Kryptonians was wicked cool. Like trying to find ways to actually affect them and stuff. It was just that final fight was just wild.
So we know that when Zod returned, the beacon was fired up, right? So that he knew that he had to go back. But as he was telling the story about what happened to Clark, right? So he intercepted the ship, Clark's ship, to do it, to find out that she is now the key, as opposed to Clark being the key. My only question is when they did the footage of him doing the original invasion, when he does the message to the world, did he mention a she or a he?
Mm-mm. He said the Kryptonian.
That you have something that's ours, like somebody from our world.
He said the Kryptonian over and over.
I wanted to make sure because I was
then when they recreated this scene when he meets with the military, in Man of Steel, Clark is hovering there.
Yeah.
But in this, he talks to him. He's like, "You failed to deliver what I want." It's Slaughterfest.
Mm-hmm.
And the actress Sasha, she says that there is a much more R-rated version of the scene of her escaping from the prison that hopefully will show up in some sort of a director's cut or something like that.
Yeah, director's cut. That would be nice to see, though.
Dude, I almost miss the days where like you go and you see a movie and you're like, that was dope. I cannot wait to buy it on physical media when I can get the extended cut. You knew we were going to get an extended cut, not just deleted scenes in the special features, but actual extended cuts. And I think
shout out to Empire, man. He got I opened up his box, man. Wait till you see that video. I'm not even telling you what I got. It's an awesome video. So shout out to Empire.
Box?
The mystery box, yeah.
Nice.
So definitely got to check that out. I'm going to drop it sometime this week.
Okay, so we've hinted, but we haven't really talked about the very end of the movie and the Batman.
Speaking of Batman.
Well, let's before you get there, how we get there. So it turns out he goes back. He tries to recreate the moment where she forgets the can of tomatoes, right? She doesn't
don't know, her forgetting the can of tomatoes is what ultimately left her at her house by herself. Yeah. Barry's dad went to go get tomatoes, and that's when she gets stabbed.
Exactly. So he didn't realize where the can of tomatoes were originally. So what he ends up doing, he puts the can of tomatoes on the upper aisle, the upper part of the shelf, when it should have been on the lower. It gives his father the opportunity to look up, and you get his face, and he's exonerated from his crimes, right?
The security footage, yeah.
Exactly. So that was the moment that he changed. He didn't realize he changed it because it's a moment where he just puts a can, which led to another branch, because he didn't go back to his world. He did go to a new world, and the Batman that picks up the phone and calls him and say, "Hey, what's going on?" turns out to be George Clooney.
So we end the movie realizing that Barry thought he could save his mom, realized he couldn't, but maybe if I just change this little thing, like he didn't really learn the big picture here that you can't tamper with anything. He was still testing the waters, and it leaves us with a George Clooney cameo, Bruce Wayne stepping out of the car at the end. Like it was hilarious. It was so funny.
I don't know when they filmed that, because I'm sure that they probably filmed some things more recently to add into the movie or whatever, but it's been finished for a while. I was really hoping it was going to be Kevin Conroy.
That would have been nice. That would have been nice, but it couldn't have been because when he picked up the phone, you had a different voice altogether.
Yeah, but I just thought it would have been nice because I mean they obviously they went to some TV things with George Reeves Superman and Adam West Batman. It would have been nice to have a nod to
An animated version,
animated too, to an animated thing too, and had Kevin Conroy. So
well, they could have gone back to the CW where we get the Kevin Conroy version. Yeah. Again, you have footage. That's what I'm saying. You have footage.
I think the biggest and best cameo we got was the Nicolas Cage Superman. For me, that was just amazing. Having known about that, like Pops teaching me about that many moons ago, watching the actual The Death of Superman Lives, like the hour, like almost 2-hour documentary
John Schnepp
done years ago on that and everything. And the whole giant spider thing, for those that don't know, that was actually the concept of putting that giant spider as the big finale of that movie is what ultimately killed that movie. You know, they wanted a giant spider in a film, and they wanted it in that film, and like it just led to all kinds of stuff.
And you got to hear Kevin Smith's story on it. The giant
ended up with the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, we got the giant spider in Wild Wild West with Will Smith instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but all in all, I think it was a good movie. It hit the beats and everything. I think for me personally, I think I followed this film far too close for years. Me and Paul have been on top of this for a while, but I've followed all the leaks and spoilers and stuff. So there's nothing that surprised me in it. Seeing it is one thing, but I knew everything was coming and all that. It was just waiting on beats, and I think that might have taken away from it. Might not have. There's plenty of movies I go into knowing stuff about, and it doesn't necessarily do that. But I don't know, it's a little bit of that with just the overblown hype from everywhere. This was for, I think, with a better managed expectations on this one, I would have enjoyed it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Now, my question about the Nicolas Cage scene, was that footage from that movie that or this was like completely new stuff?
100% original footage.
But his outfit matches what we saw in the documentary about it too.
Yeah.
So it was, and it had and it had a more long hair,
the chest hair
at the time. So
well, Superman showed a lot of chest hair in the 90s.
Yes, he did.
It's true.
So it was a cool nod. It was definitely something that I think you had to know about it, because people are looking at it like, why is Nicolas Cage? Because I know there's had to be people that are like, Nicolas Cage, which could have thrown people off. I'm sure it probably did. But at the end of the day, these were just ways of telling the fans, hey, we know. You know what I mean? I think that was very
Henry Cavill showed up in the Speed Force as well.
He showed up in the Speed Force.
And we talked about this like many months ago, Mark, about how wouldn't it be cool, because they have all these. We had theorized maybe they would use some like casting footage or something for Nicolas Cage, but it opened up all of those. We talked about having Nicolas Cage in the movie as well. So
yeah, and Cyborg's in it, even though you don't see his face. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really don't like Ray Fisher over there.
Oh, Ray Fisher really don't like them.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Ray Fisher's part in the Snyder Cut is one of the best parts in the Snyder Cut.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's much better than what they did to him in the Wheaton Cut.
So last thing to touch on with the film, Fish Cat Collectibles brings it up right on time, is the after credit scene was lacking. So we do get after the final credits roll, we get Barry Allen walking out of a bar with Arthur Curry on this new world with George Clooney as Bruce Wayne. It is played by Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa is pissed drunk, and he's just kind of just falling. And it's just a comical scene. It really just Barry explaining to Arthur, like, look, man, like, this isn't the world that I came from. I've tampered with stuff. We got to figure it out. And Momoa's just like, give me another drink. Give him my ring to pay for. He's like, this is Atlantean treasure, bro. You tell him that. Just give me a drink. I'm just going to sleep in this puddle of water. And I think the only point it served whatsoever was just to remind viewers that Jason Momoa plays Aquaman, for the simple fact that they're going to start promotion on this in like 3 months. Like 3 months from the promotion package.
What was the joke was all the talk of Jason Momoa taking the reins of Lobo, right? Because everybody wants him to be Lobo. Now, I will admit he will be the perfect Lobo. It's like, yeah, the guy doesn't even need much makeup. You just you put him white skin and give him red eyes, and you practically have Lobo, right? And I think that was the point of that scene. I'm not gonna say I didn't laugh because there were some funny scenes, especially when he's in the water and stuff. This is my home, and his face down. That was funny. I just think, like you said, it was just a promo to lead us to the next Aquaman movie. But is it really, or is it's just a stupid scene? It really is. It has no purpose. You could have easily put that in the movie somewhere. It had no end credit purpose. That's the point. Even for laughs, man. Because Marvel is the king of doing it, and sometimes there's purpose. Sometimes it's a dumb gag. This wasn't even either. This was just them just saying, okay, let's do a scene with him and Jason Momoa, and Jason Momoa is pissed drunk. And let's make you think it's Lobo, but it's not. It's still Aquaman.
I never once thought the Lobo thing.
I didn't either. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that's what it was, though. It had something to do with Lobo. New World, Lobo. He could have even said Made Man, and that probably would have been a better nod.
All in all, I'll definitely be watching again. I think this has like really high rewatchability to it. We didn't really, but this movie had it hit the emotional beats like that you'd expect from a story that's about loss, especially with moms, because moms just really, everyone has one. There's not a person on this planet that doesn't have a mother. 100% of the people who exist have a mother, so this is completely relatable. It was just a bad movie.
Mr. Mind and Shazam. Yeah, I like that scene.
Mr. Mind and Shazam too.
It's like, yeah, I'm getting to it.
It was the same scene as from the first one with him just saying, "I'm not ready to tell you yet," and then he ran off.
All that was just saying, "Oh yeah, we know we didn't forget about Mr. Mind." That's all that was. And now they're never gonna get to him because I don't see Shazam 3 ever happening.
No.
Although, did you see James Gunn said? Well, not about Shazam, but James Gunn has said that although the DC universe is starting Gods and Monsters with Superman Legacy, Blue Beetle is actually the first hero in the new universe.
Yeah, this Blue Beetle is getting this is going to be super standalone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
not,
so he's going to
expect any cameos in Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Don't expect any references.
He's going to carry through
mentions of people that exist. Like Batman's name is mentioned. It's going to be like old school movies. This is why Superman works alone. Like,
right.
Yeah, it's going to pull off like a Supergirl.
But with the option that they can use this actor if they want to later on because he's the first hero in the new universe.
Yeah. And now he'll be the first true 100% Hispanic character because apparently Barry Allen's half Hispanic now.
Yeah, I don't think Ezra Miller does look like I can't tell. Like he looked to me, he always thought like he was had Asian heritage in him.
Yeah,
but he's dark hair and everything. It didn't seem out of place. I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Especially younger Barry looked like he was Hispanic too.
Yeah,
worked good. But dude, I'm drugged. I'm tired as hell. All weekend at the con, going hard, hanging out, traveling today. My voice is trashed out right now. We're about to hit an hour in, so we're going to call it for tonight. I appreciate everyone coming. I have a Heroes Con recap video. It's already recorded. It'll be uploaded in the morning. I'm not doing an early release on it just because I'm just going to set it for the timer, and I'm about to go to bed. Yeah, he's half. We already know the character's half Jewish from the Justice League movie, so that would be his dad, and then his mom is Hispanic because he told Bruce Wayne when he showed him the footage that we saw in Batman v Superman. When he showed him that footage, this kid's like, just looks like a nice, good half Jewish boy. So that's in there as well.
He has a little bit of everything.
Yeah, Ezra is a man of the world. So we're going to wrap it up with that one. I appreciate everyone coming. If you haven't seen it, the movie has my recommendation. It doesn't have my run out and go see it recommendation, but it was definitely a solid film. It hit my top 5 for the DCEU movies, and boom. Izzy, what do you got coming up?
Tomorrow, man, it's Monday. Monday night lineup. We kick things off. We're definitely gonna talk about the box office of Flash. We're gonna talk about Transformers and the future of Transformers and G.I. Joe. Just like you got that piece that you just showed us from Daniel Warren Johnson of all the good stuff that's happening there. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Wonder Woman 800 and Incredible Hulk #1. 2 big books coming out this week. We'll talk about those books, and there's a lot more stuff coming up.
I'm glad you mentioned those two. Y'all should go over to the Comic Vets channel and watch the very special episode that Chris uploaded where him and I both give you our top picks for the week. Very special episode. It's the shortest one, but probably my favorite one that we've done.
Yeah, so we'll do that tomorrow, and there's a sketchy show on Thursday. There's a poll out to see which character I'm going to draw. So right now, I think Starfire is winning.
I voted for Starfire.
You ordered for Starfire?
I voted for Wonder Woman. Then I saw how it's. I'm like, nope. And I switched to Starfire and evened out Wonder Woman with it on.
No, you guys got to give love to Erica Slaughter, man. That's a character I actually do want to draw.
It's a trash ass character.
But she looks cool.
She's dressed like a trailer park hobo. Lame design. Starfire looks tight. I want to see what you do with Starfire's hair.
Yeah.
Paul, what do you got coming up?
Well, before Mark lost his voice, we managed to record the new DC Comics deep dive tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock.
We'll had to carry that episode.
We'll be looking at Green Lantern #2 and the Alan Scott story from the DC Pride Through the Years. And then, which is 6 pages, by the way, in case you don't get that from our...
6 pages.
And then on Wednesday... It's a Guess That Key Wednesday, and we will have John's Comics with Kids and JP's Budget Collecting on. And our giveaway this week will be a special Flash package. We will have the Flash prequel comic prequel trade paperback. We'll have the Flashpoint trade back. We'll have the Batman '89 trade paperback, and we will have the Supergirl trade paperback.
Oh shit!
All 4 of those.
That's a lot of traded paperbacks.
Yeah.
That's
so now that next week there won't be a movie special, we'll have a lot of comics to talk, and we're going to be spot hitting stuff from the past few weeks, and we're going to be diving into Void Rivals as well with all the news and everything around that. That's going to be fun. There'll also be a video that drops hopefully Wednesday if all goes well. That's new image properties focused and attached with content as well. So be on the lookout for that.
So Becker. There will be a Speedball someday, but we can't draw Speedball for Femme Fatales.
I disagree.
You disagree with that? Okay.
Again, I appreciate everybody coming by. We're gonna cut out tonight. I'm gonna leave you with a photo of Comic Journey. Comic Journey. CJ was at the convention, hung out with them all weekend. So until next time, take it easy, guys.